Yo, y'all know what day it is? It is Sunday, man. This is fans' choice, and you voted for every Sunday coverage of Batman Superman World's Finest. We did issue number 1 last week. We are in issue number 2. Yo, what are we waiting on? Roll that intro, cuss. Yeah. What's going on, Geek Corner? This is your boy, Earth Matt the Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Orange Phoenix Media Channel and another episode of Comic Book Declassified. So today we are jumping into issue number 2 of World's Finest, and this picks up where issue number 1 left off. Superman is on the operating table, and he is the Man of Steel, right? So you can't just use any type of surgical instruments on this man. You got to use kryptonite to do an incision. So the doc opens up his chest, notices that his heart is undamaged, but the thing is, it's his blood. Metallo put a red kryptonite cocktail, stab this man in the chest, and fill him up full of drugs. Say no to drugs, kids. But this is what's going on. He said, we were wrong. It doesn't matter what color it is, red, green, or tartan. This kryptonite is rapidly toxifying Superman's blood. He's got minutes to live. Minutes. Now, a full transfusion is too slow, and I don't have the equipment to filter blood. That leaves Negative Man. There's a chance his radiation can alter that of the K particles to something harmless. Batman says purging Superman's circulatory system from within. Niles, the Negative Man power lasts 1 minute. There are over 60,000 miles of veins and arteries in the body. Can he beat that deadline? He's like, we're about to find out. So Negative Man uses his radiation, and from that standpoint, is it working? And that depends on how strong Big Blue can be for the next 60 seconds. And you see a level of concern with Batman. Like, Batman has feelings, okay? Like, let's just put it out there. I mean, yeah, Batman is stoic in ways, and he's very calculating and matter of fact. But when it comes to people very, very close to him, he gets very concerned. And you can see the concern on his face because he says, come on, Cal. He's like, we've been through hell together. You got this. And so, like, he don't like losing his friends. Like, you don't just do the impossible. You make it look easy. And from that standpoint, Superman snaps out of it like he is healing. He's like, what is going on? And then Elastigirl's like, is Batman smiling? And Robin goes, yeah, it happens. It happens. Like, don't worry about it. It's cool. But Superman is fully healed, drinking coffee, like nothing's going on. Niles goes on to say, a few weeks ago, my Doom Patrol liberated an item of interest from a madman named Zal, who had been studying it himself. Batman goes, it's a sword from the Shang Dynasty, around 1600 BC likely. It's like likely from the Zengao area. And you get this banter between Robin and Superman. It's like, why are they talking over each other? He's like, it's what happens when you put two men who hate not being the smartest guy in the room together in one room. And it goes on to say, you're familiar with the legend of Nezha. Batman's like, of course, man. Who you think I am? I'm Batman. Like, don't try to play me like that. He's like, now it goes on to say, well, my team was able to separate legend from fact. Rita, Larry, Cliff, and you find out about Nezha because this is the main villain of this particular storyline. And Rita goes on to say the sword originally belonged to Nezha, the son of China's most powerful warlord, Li Jing. Now, despite his military might, Li Jing couldn't keep his son from dying in battle. So distraught over his loss was Li Jing that he ordered Nezha's body to be preserved as effectively as possible. He then abandoned his throne to travel to then known world. Desperate to find some way to resurrect his kid, he extorted, he tortured, he threatened hundreds of wise men and learned nothing. Guy then emptied his piggy bank, fortunes on top of fortunes, and still came up bupkis. And Rita goes on to say, eventually, Lai Jing was reduced to servitude, scrubbing the floors of a reputed magician in the faint hopes of curing his favor. Now, years passed, Lai Jing's lie-ravaged fingers could barely lift his meager dinner to his lips, but he refused to abandon his quest. He wanted nothing but to see Nessa again. Eventually, the magician showed mercy. He awarded Lai Jing with knowledge that allowed him to create an elixir of eternal life. Lai Jing entered his son's tomb and administered the liquid. Huzzah! It worked. His son will live not only there and then, but pretty much forever. But for the first time in a decade, Nessa saw his dad's ear-stained face, head, the tragic story of sacrifice, and exploded. He's like, what have you done, you stupid old man? We commanded the world. Now you whimper and cower, obedient to others. We had untold riches. Now we are paupers. And from that, he takes his dad's head. Nessa takes his dad's head. Like that, you know what kind of nastiness that got to be? Like what kind of diabolical work that could be? Like your old man spent all of his riches trying to resurrect you. And once he resurrects you, the thing that you're going to do is like, look, you a shell of yourself. I'm going to just take your life, man. That's crazy work, man. So you just basically live your life for nothing. And from that standpoint, that sword that's been used, that is the devil, Nessa. It's like embracing mysticism adorned with magical weapons. He set out to conquer, striking down his foes with such cruelty that he became known as the devil, Nessa. He was like magic. And the devil emblem is his insignia. If he was that powerful, what stopped him from world conquest? And now it goes on to say, you know what? I'll show you. They did a battle of Nasa, the noble of House G, assembled a team of magical warriors and deities. Unable to kill the immortal Nessa, they instead imprisoned him. And Batman's like, how? Where? Like, no one knows, but I suspect that either we're dealing with the acolyte or worst case scenario, the devil Nessa may somehow been released or broken free. Superman's like, look, either way, someone's using our enemies to come at us, and we may not be the only ones. He's like, oh, you're not the only ones. And so from that point, we gonna skip over to Supergirl, the introduction of Supergirl, because Superman's like, look, I asked for help, and this is what we want to get. And Supergirl has ways to actually going back in time, like casually going back in time. But the interesting thing is this little dialogue between Robin and Supergirl, because they talk to each other very coldly. And Superman's like, look, you got a problem? And Robin and Supergirl like, at the same time, nope. She's like, nope, but I can handle this myself, you know. And Superman was like, not if you need a trained detective, off you go. So Batman goes on to say, Calder, see if your team can find the Nessa and stay in touch. Superman and I have a child to save. Because in Fawcett neighborhood, Felix Faust is going after Billy Batson. And Felix goes on to say, this is too easy. At least make it fun for me. Billy Batson, I was given no clue what a young boy's connection is to the wizard Shazam. Only that I was cautioned to keep you silent. What's the matter, Billy? Something you want to say? So what's smartly done, Felix Faust silenced Billy Batson because all he has to do is say Shazam. And that's it. Now, elsewhere, you see this continued banter between Supergirl and Robin. And Supergirl goes, nice pants. Robin goes, trying them out. She goes, we're on a mission. Like, I'm well aware, so we should keep any conversation professional. Agreed. And for that, like, come on now. They wasn't going to keep it professional. She's like, it was an accident. She's like, you were showing off. Who knew there'd be a monkey there? And you wore your costume. That fountain was already half empty. Were you raised in a circus? Pretty much he was. And you weren't much help with the avalanche. I did not flirt with the server. And silence again. Like, listen, just fly. And hang on, we breaking the time barrier. So in this panel, you see there was some type of romantic relationship between Supergirl and Robin. Now, canonically, when you think about it, there was no like deep rooted relationship, not to the level of, Robin and Starfire, like not to that level. But this is very, very interesting. I really wouldn't mind seeing them getting romantically involved, because now you got me interested. You got us interested here. But Robin goes on to say, are you just winging this, or how do you know where we'll end up? Everything on Earth leads a Tachyon trail if you know how to look with X-ray vision by tracking the path of the swords. We can follow it back through its entire history. And you're like, all right, that's cool. I confess. So that actually goes back in time. He like, this looked to be about the target area, give or take a year. He says, actually, I said we're right on the money. That's them down there. Hope they're up for a chat. You need a translation earpiece? She's like, I speak the language. And Robin was like, of course you do. Of course you do. And immediately when they land, they attack Supergirl and Robin. It's like, hey, yo, we're on your side. Like, we're one of you. He's like, nah. You think to deceive us? You think us fools? Clearly, you side with Nessa. You carry his sword. So, at some point, you got to throw hands. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes being a voice of reason ain't enough. And, you got to lay people down sometimes. You know what I mean? So Robin and Supergirl is definitely going to do that. But that's where we're going to leave that. So Superman and Batman was able to subdue Felix Faust. But Billy is still silent. So Superman goes on to say, you're going to tell us everything about whoever put you up to this, Faust. But first, you're going to tell me how to cure Billy. Faust goes on to say, the staff that I know, what about it? Talk. He's like, it's the most important tool in any magician's arsenal. Superman, it's misdirection. It's like, come on, man. He's like, the staff was just to draw your attention. Thanks to my new master, I have no more need for trinkets and baubles. The devil Nessa is real, gentlemen, and the army he is building is vast and terrifying, for he imbues great power to those who serve him. All he demands in return is the eternal damnation of his enemies to the fires of hell itself. And that is issue number 2 of Batman Superman World's Finest. What's going to happen with Superman, Batman, and Billy Batson? Because he can't say Shazam. He is powerless at this point. And how are you surviving in Hellfire? That's the other part of it, too. So we'll see what happens, especially with Robin and Supergirl going back in time to find out more information about this sword. But I know you guys enjoyed this, because thank you for all the feedback that you gave me in the first issue of World's Finest of Batman Superman. And I will continue to do this, man, as long as there's more support. And there's other people that are out there, like-minded people like yourself. Go ahead and spread the wealth. Share this video, comment, like. If you are new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, because we got more comic book content for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. So until next time, peace.